You ever feel like the toy companies heard exactly what you were saying and then immediately figure out that they must not have heard a single word you said? So, what are we talking about here? Well, I'm sure by now, and I purposely gave this time because I didn't want to jump right in on it. It's not really, how do I put this? I know that I'm going to say a couple of things that he already said. Pixel Dan already did a video on this, and he specifically called out a couple of things. And I know that I'm going to call out a couple of the same things. But I still wanted to do the video for a couple of reasons. One, because as part of the toy community, I feel like it's not necessarily wrong that two people should have almost the same take. Two, this is not a views thing. It's not like, oh man, Pixel Dan's talking about it. If I say something about it, maybe I'll get a couple views. It's not actually about that. It does, however, come down to, in a way, saying the same thing in certain areas. I do have a couple of my own thoughts on the issue here and there. That's, of course, everybody does. Everybody in the community that's their own person will have their own things to say about this. But it doesn't hurt to sometimes reiterate the same points that somebody else is making, because the more voices that bring up the same problem have a better chance of reaching the individuals that said problem needs to reach, to make said problem sound like it needs to be addressed or taken seriously. These turtles right here. Here they are. And there is a problem here. Like, it's not major, but it's something to think about. So, I have a couple of issues with this. The price point is fine. That's going to be a saving grace for this right off the bat. So there we go. Price point, we're looking at like $12.99 or something like that for these guys. I do not know the exact price off the top of my head. That seems right, if I remember right, what was said and what I saw on the information post or whatever. I believe it's like $12.99. The things, however, because that's one good thing to say right off the bat. The second good thing to say is that these are colored phenomenally. I mean, look at them, right? We could see that. We can look right at them. They're colored well. And we also have the original idea that each turtle is a different kind of green. That's good as well. I like that each one comes with a platform. That's also kind of cool. I kind of wish they stacked on one another a little bit differently than these seem to do, because there's like this tiny wall right here, and that almost makes me feel like they're standing on a building, and how they have them displayed here, I don't necessarily love that, so mine would go in a line. I'm guessing these are kind of stands that they're standing on, that maybe their feet go into some kind of peg. That's also fine. But, well, so look. The weapons are colored. That's awesome. There's definitely more detail here. That's both awesome and not awesome. I don't love this. This, like, weird skin. You could say that it makes sense. I don't actually believe that it does. I think it looks awkward. I've owned a Red Ear slider before, and this doesn't make me feel anything like when I had my turtle. Like, it doesn't. It doesn't bring up any form of nostalgia to when I had my turtle. So that, I don't like the skin, like a lot. I don't like the skin. That bugs me. I also have to say, I was hoping that these turtles would be the Origins waves. It would be like Playmates Origin Ninja Turtles. That's what I was hoping we were going to get here. But this is not what that is. It's not. There's a couple of things here. One, pin figures. We are in a time when we are leaving the pins behind, but not here. Keep in mind, this is a 40th anniversary piece to celebrate 40 years of the TMNT. Pegged figures. That right there kind of bothers me a little bit. I feel like most lines are moving away from pegs, especially if you are selling directly to adult collectors. Now, that's not to say you can't have a good figure and have pegs. You can. I've still seen some really great figures. I've bought plenty of figures. We've reviewed plenty of figures that still have pegs. But it is something to note. These figures have pegs, and their articulation is not necessarily modernized. In fact, I would still put their articulation many years back from what most companies are doing right now. For one, is that bothering anybody else? Do you see the hand here? That hand does this. And that's it. It doesn't do this. It doesn't do this. It does this. That's not good. We have a single bend at the arm, which is probably fine. A lot of figures at single bends are still doing excellent work. In fact, I bought the Fire and Ice figures, and they only have the single joint at the knee and the single joint at the elbow, and they do just fine. So that can be done. We can let that go. It's not a deal breaker. The paint job for me seems a little more cartoon and a little less original figures based on the comic books. The wrist really bothers me. These are swords. I like them to be able to put their sword arms out. I like them to be able to maybe tuck their sword arms in or something. You get what I'm saying? Like look at the He-Man figures. This foot is bad. Look at that foot right there. I do not think that's any kind of swivel joint. I think it just it turns, and that's all I think it does. And I think they're all standing specifically in this way because they have to. I think their feet probably have holes in them, and there's probably pegs on these stands, and they probably stand on those stands, and that's how they're standing. And the reason I think that is because if their feet do that, if they turn like that, then they probably do not have good balance in the figures, unless you stand them very specific ways, standing all the way up or crouched in a very specific way. Held directly by these stands, maybe you can get slightly better action poses, but those action poses are going to be very limited if you try to put 1 foot forward and 1 foot back or whatever, and try to have them jumping into the air or something like that, or doing the way the feet are going to have to remain flat, and you're not going to be able to Leonardo will not be able to put 1 foot forward with the foot pointing out, and then the other one supporting the weight flat. You won't be able to do that. You won't be able to pivot where the ankle turns and he has the foot all the way out, and then he's kind of got the swords or whatever, and you can't take poses like that. So I see a group of figures here that are going to be limited in the articulation, they're limited in their articulation. They're not modern articulation. I see a set of figures here with stands that are pretty cool. I see a set of figures here where the colors don't quite seem 100% right to me. They seem brighter than the darker colors that I kind of remember from those TMNT toys. I'm literally turning around to look at the ones that I have sitting over at the side here. And as far as I can see, I'm right. Like Raph he was always the brightest green, but he's bright green here. This is not the same color scale that we were working on before. Is that a deal breaker? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. A lot of the He-Man figures have been brought up into modern day and their colors are brighter and they pop. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it very much works. Does it work here? One could argue. Are you looking for a more cartoonish look? These might be exactly what you're looking for. If you're looking for a more comic book, darker look, which is what these toys were originally based on, one could argue this is not going to hit the mark. Also, we're looking at 4 figures who are going to have difficulty standing. I've probably already said that many times. 4 figures that will have difficulty with their posing, their articulation, their color's a little off to me. The skin thing really bothers me. And the absolute nail in the coffin here, for me, and maybe I've heard wrong, but am I hearing these are Wal-Mart exclusives? As far as I am aware, unless somebody has got some new information that I don't have, always possible, these are Wal-Mart exclusives. Does that mean we're going to be in one of those situations where we can never find these figures? Where we're simply not going to get them? We can't find them. That happens a lot with Wal-Mart figures. A lot of these, and to be fair, I'll put it on Target too, the distribution lines just seem messed up lately. It's really hard to guarantee or even sometimes hope to find any store exclusive figures. But at least in my Walmarts, and I have about 5 that are in easy distance to me, Turtles seem to always be stocked. And maybe this is because the new cartoon movie? Maybe those toys are selling well. Maybe kids are into Ninja Turtles right now. I don't know. But I think it's very possible. And I don't see any reason that couldn't be possible. It is a new show, right? In fact, I don't know if they have a current running show. I think, isn't Rise done? Maybe it's not. I don't know. Look, after the 2013 Turtles, I did not watch Rise. I just didn't. I can't say anything bad about it, just like I can't say anything bad about the CGI He-Man. I haven't seen it. I don't know. And years ago, I made the mistake of being like, 2013 Turtles is stupid. Just look at it. It looks stupid. I know it's stupid. It's friggin' stupid. It wasn't stupid. It turned out to be my favorite TMNT show of all time. So I can't judge things like that. I have to see it. I haven't seen it. Don't have an opinion. But is it over? If it's over, then it's no longer on TV right now. Ooh, and you get the idea. It's not necessarily in the forefront. But the new movie was really good. I took my kid to it. We really enjoyed it. And I noticed that theaters have done even replays of it, which makes me feel like it must have went over pretty well. And if it went over pretty well and those toys are selling, then that would explain why at least my Walmarts are doing very good with Ninja Turtles. Like, I've noticed the movie figures on the shelf. I've noticed all the originals. I've noticed even some of the transforming ones. Like, all the old figures that I had when I was a kid are, like, back. And they're easy to obtain. So, if that's true, because at least in my experience in my area, it's been Transformers and Ninja Turtles. Those are accessible at every Walmart right now. Then we shouldn't have a problem getting our hands on this. So maybe that's a positive. I don't know where I stand with these. Sometimes having it in your hand or seeing it in person makes the sell. Maybe the weird skin, weird thing with the skin, maybe that's not a big deal. It might not be. It might not be. Maybe in person it really sells the detail, right? I don't know. I don't know. I hope. I cross my fingers that this is cool, because this would be awesome. I mean, right now my mind is set on the Ninja Turtles. The 4 turtles I want the most on my shelf are the Super 7 Ultimate line. I want those turtles on the shelf. They impress me to no end. That is my childhood remade in modern day toy. I love it. I love everything about it. I want it. That's what I want. But I cannot deny that if these hit it out of the park and were very much the Playmates Ninja Turtle origin wave, it would get my attention. I mean, heck, currently the Turtles of Grayskull have my attention. So you get where I'm going with that? I love this idea of the retro waves with newer articulation. I do like it. In some cases, I didn't necessarily like the new wave of Star Trek figures that they did. I don't think they added up. I don't think they hit the mark as well as the originals. But when they do these things right, and they do them right, they really do them right, we will spend that money. Proven by a couple of lines out there right now. And sometimes retro toys are cool. Is this? Or is it a real cause for concern with the couple of details that I'm seeing here that give me pause? I don't know. Good? Bad? What do you guys think? I don't know, because I really don't know. So if you have anything to say on it, if this is something like you will definitely be buying this, if you have your thoughts about it, if you don't think the colors work right, if you have a problem with the skin thing, if you're not sold on the articulation, things like that, let me know, because I am interested to see where other people stand on this, because I really don't know where I am right now. But so far, I think I'm leaning towards a pass. But only time will tell. Later on.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.